Hello. How are we doing this evening, gents? Good to see you all. Hope all's going good. Welcome to, I don't know what episode number this would be now, or whether we're even chronicling in episodes, but if we could just get a holler in the chat again, be good to see who's present, who's in, who's watching, who's listening. Hopefully, this is all coming through all right. I have actually made a little bit more of a concerted effort this week to try and make sure that you guys can actually hear everything that's going on. So, I'm just going to kill that for a second. How are we all doing? Let us know in chat. Give us a quick shout. Good to see you, Johnny. Hope all's going good. We start our stream the same way we start every stream, with a sip of 2112. Supplied by the wonderful Radio City Beer Works and represented by the wonderful Radio City Social in Chelmsford. Daryl, how's it going? Good to see you, my man. Hente, hey, how's it going, my man? Very good to see you. Been a while, mate. Hope all's going good. All the same, very much enjoy our little rapport on Twitter. Really, really good shout, man. We have to properly touch base at some point to discuss some music ideas and get you started on a few as well, man. Seriously, it sounds like you know a lot more than you're letting on. But good to see you all. Hope all's going good. There's maybe something a little bit different. Maybe it is the eyeliner, Daryl. I'm not really too sure. Sorry, just seeing Johnny. No, nice one, Johnny. Good to see you, man. Do appreciate the consistency. That is fantastic. Thought I'd start today's episode with a few discussion points, a couple discussion points. One is very much related to the stream. So a little bit glass half full, glass half empty. The stream is going to keep going. However, at the moment, I do have quite a few time constraints with regards to business and family and other bits like that. There's as well as things that I have to do outside of music, unfortunately, that sort of mean that my evenings, the majority of my evenings throughout the week are taken up with things outside of music for the time being. Hopefully, there'll be some reprieve from that some point soon. Hopefully, if I get things a little bit more organised with regards to the content, the channel. So I cut straight to the point now and sort of elaborate after. Basically, the streams, I'm going to start, as of next week, only doing it once every fortnight. So rather than the same time every week, 7 o'clock every Wednesday, it's going to be every other Wednesday. Now, before you start throwing cans, rotten food, and all sorts of pitchforks my way, this is only temporary. This is only for now. I understand this is the one thing that most of you look forward to more than anything else throughout the week. Don't know how else to put it at the moment, but hopefully what that means is that with one extra evening a week, and I can't stress how important that one extra evening is going to be, I should be able to get a lot more work done in the time frame that I have available to me now, that will then afford me the opportunity to actually jump back on stream once every week, hopefully within the next few months. Much appreciated for the support on that one, guys. Hente. Yes, right. That's actually a very good point, Hente. I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's something that I keep forgetting about as well. I will come back to business in a sec. But basically, when I've been listening back to these podcasts, it is apparent that it's only coming through one speaker. It is also apparent on my OBS, which is the streaming broadcasting service, that it is only coming through one speaker. So you are in fact correct, Hente. It is only coming through one at the moment, and that is something that I have been noticing. I'm not going to lie and say that I've actually been working on it. It's something that I've kept forgetting about until you brought that up just now. So very good point. That is something, again, this is why I need my Wednesdays back, because this is the sort of business that ends up slipping through the cracks, and yeah, like you guys get robbed of beautiful studio quality, and by studio, well, I mean stereo actually, stereo quality vocals for your streams. So you guys deserve much better than that. So that is something I will be endeavouring to work on, as well as a few other bits with regards to getting some of these Wednesdays back. So, yep, stream's not going anywhere. It's just being cut back temporarily whilst I get on top of a few other things. But those few other things will hopefully mean that the content becomes a lot more streamlined. Um, one of the things I've loved about this stream is the ability to effectively communicate with, with yourselves, with my fans in that respect, and like I really appreciate it. But I think like one of the things that ends up taking up that time means that I can't be as consistent on my socials, which at the moment in terms of like where I'm hoping for all of this to go, like where in terms of like growing organically, the socials are basically the most important aspect of all of this right now. So very much appreciated, Johnny. I'm sure there'll be plenty to like punish like with later on when it comes to downloading other bits. I'm thinking like a few flabongos probably to even it out. I'll leave that up to you. But yep, just yeah. On that note, then, so streams won't be a stream next week, but the week after that there'll be. I'll get those streams back on track. Hopefully, can even make them some better quality streams, like fix some of the audio issues, fix some of the like quality which is coming through. And I mean, this is another aspect of it. I think like even today, I was just like, oh man, the stream's coming up, and I haven't got any ideas for content. I haven't got any ideas of what to actually do tonight. And that ultimately ends up robbing you guys of entertainment. Like it could be all me well and good, just being like, oh, okay, well I've half-assed this. I thought about doing this about 15 minutes ago, so let's roll the dice and see how it goes. Ultimately, you guys are taking time out of your busy schedules to come and watch this. I want to make it the absolute best. Same with the music, same with anything. I want to make it the absolute best it can be, with respect to my audience, rather than like anything that I get out of it. So yeah, I've sort of beaten that point to death. The streams are being cut back one, and this is another thing that I am also working on. But I'm not sure when it's going to be implemented. I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time. You few in this chat are the first to know right now that I am also changing my name. Mic drop. Suddenly the whole world's tipped on its head. In due time, Juan Stone is being faded out, is being like switched out. It's a name that I've been proud to have for the best part of about 12, 13 years now. Do have to give credit where credit's due. Kimberly, one of my old mates, coined the name Juan quite a while back, and that name then got carried on by other people and turned into Juan Stone, and that led us to where we're at now, where basically my whole point of keeping it really was with regards to it being a unique search term. It helped for anyone trying to find the music I was making, or to find any of the pages or the socials, to look up Juan Stone, and it be literally the first thing that crops up, the first thing that pops up on Google, first thing that crops up on Spotify, which is all well and good. However, it's, I guess, like on a more, for use of a better term, spiritual level or whatnot, like it doesn't, every time I try to enunciate it, every time I like sort of introduce it or say like this, my name is Juan Stone, this and the other, it's not that same part of me that it used to be. And it's still very much like a very valued, cherished, nickname, if you will, or like even artist name for its period in time. But I am looking into being able to switch it some point soon. No beating around the bush. I'm basically looking to switch it to Johnston. Just my, it fucking should be Rollo. Jesus, I tell you what, actually, like that is going up for consideration. Possibly, I'm going to that's actually entered the fray. It's either going to be Rollo or it's going to be Johnston. At the moment, I'm leaning on Johnston, but that's because I hadn't actually given Rollo much thought before that one. So that is actually a very good shout there, Johnny. Incredibly good shout. But it is, yeah, I think Juan Stone has done its time. It's been part of the course. It's been fun, but, you know, I'm sorry, Juan Stone. It's not you, it's me. Just, my heart's not in it anymore. So, yeah, those are two pretty big announcements to sort of get right off the bat with regards to the stream. Just checking Insta. Now, the Insta, I have actually... I wonder if I might be able to share this, because I've basically now informed everybody with a giant big bit of white text. By the way, this is also my filming apparatus. Interesting insight into the Juan Stone life in the studio. Rye, good to see you, man. And yep, most definitely end of an era. I did actually just see you in the stream chat, so you're literally just seeing what you probably saw a moment ago. First of all, yep, this is my recording rig. This is whenever you see me standing in the front room, like if you ever see me like playing or this and the other. I'm actually filming on my good friend Dan Hewitt's mic stand that he lent me for the Radio City Social gig last year. In this mic stand is a, for use of a better term, a kendo stick. So for anyone who isn't a avid Steve Blackman fan, that is a stick that I think was primarily used for training purposes, sword combat and this and the other. But I've just found it's really handy for being able to use mobility stretches and show off your sweaty armpits to the World Wide Web. So, you know, that one works out an absolute treat. So, yeah, and also on Instagram right now, I've actually managed to include a giant wall of text that basically says, link in bio to be able to watch the stream now. How much help that's actually going to be, as I say, Ryan, I'm sure that you could actually navigate your way around a few links. Give us a shout in chat if you have actually come over here from Instagram, because the message worked. Because it would actually be really helpful to know. It's a bow staff. Right, fair shout, man. No, that's a good shout. I have heard the term bow staff thrown around quite religiously. I sort of associated it with hippies, the sort of thing that they end up like throwing around or whatnot, but maybe I just got my terminology a little bit mixed up on that one. So thank you very much, Johnny, for the correction on that one. So yeah, thanks very much, guys. Made it sound like we're wrapping the stream up there. Don't worry about that. We've still got a little bit of work to do. And yes, absolutely, shout out to Steve Blackman, pretty much the guy who I think got me into WWF back in the day, outside of obviously Stone Cold Steve Austin. But that's neither here nor there. So basically, yep, cutting back the streams. Juan Stone's being phased out. Starting to sound like we're off on a bit of a negative note, really, when in fact, like, you know, these streams are meant to be like nothing but positive. So thanks very much, everyone, for rocking up. Oh, no. It's all good, Johnny. No, fair shout, man. I think, like, just obviously I'm sort of like reading at a rapid rate as well. I think I might have misinterpreted it. Yeah, I like I said, I've heard the term bow staffs or whatnot. Could be a kendo stick. Could be either. I mean, like, in this day and age, it can be whatever it chooses to be, surely. Who are we to judge? So, on that note, anyways, today was, I will be honest with you guys, another one where I was a bit and ahhing with regards to what we would be doing today, what we would be covering. I'm a bit cognizant of the fact, like, I don't want to, like, literally just do the same thing every week, week in, week out. But also just deciding which bits are the best to cover, which, like, whether that's a certain topic of discussion, whether that's like going over a track or whatnot. As I say, like, you know, with a bit more extra time on the streams, hopefully I can deliver what's going to be a better quality stream. In fact, I mean, like, it'd actually be a really good time to ask you guys if it was the case of cutting a stream out per week for the time being, would you guys actually be up for something resembling more of a 2-hour stream? As I say, I know like a lot of you are actually quite tight for time, but like if it was like, you know, something that most of you did want, like it something that I'm definitely worth up for doing. Like if you guys actually had the time to watch, be more than happy to try and make up that extra hour when we actually go through the streams the next time. So yep. Let's see, John Stallone or John's Tune. Oh, yeah, no, there's a few ideas. Oh, yeah, that's it. Leave your suggestions in the chat, guys. We've got Rollo. We've got John Stallone. Yeah. I actually say that out loud as well, man. That's actually cracked me up. But yeah, no, fair shout, man. And yeah, like just get a fucking waffle on as well. Like I think that's a pretty good shout. This works well down the pub, works well everywhere else. So we'll just get together and have a nice little natter. So let's move on with the show. So what I've got here is a blank canvas. I've made sure the first thing I do today is check that we are connected. So I'm going to play a click. If you guys can just tell me, is that coming through? No, it doesn't look like it is. Master Ableton local broadcast. Why is this not coming through? Maybe. Oh, okay. Hang on a sec. I'm going to try something else real quick. I'm guessing you guys might hear that. Sounding good? So, I'm going to keep going anyways. Just let us know in chat whether that is coming through all right, whether the sound is like, you know, a bit muffled or anything else like that. We'll be happy to adjust as we go along. So, yep, this is, as I say, like today's episode, I thought I'd ramble on about guitar for a little bit because I've always been like very focused on synths. And actually, like, I think what a lot of people appreciate about the tunes is the guitar playing. So yeah, time to and nice one, James Hente. Good to know that's coming through as well. Like I said, I think it's literally just the microphone that's coming through one at the moment. But I'll be looking to fix that. So the first thing I do, so actually, first of all, this is a Fender Telecaster. It is it's a Korean model, Korean Telecaster, for any Fender aficionados in the chat. I've previously had a Fender Squire, so your basic Fender guitar practice app combination that you could have got from Argos. You could probably still get from Argos, to be fair. You know, perfect way to get started on guitar. I'd probably say get a cheap nylon, then go to a Squire Strat, and then from there you'll know whether guitar is for you. So yeah, it'll be a good shout. Just checking the Instagram chat. No, we're all good. So yep, this is a Fender Tele. In terms of amplifier, so usually at the moment I've got a Line 6. It's a Line 6 Spider. But when it comes to playing on Ableton and when it comes to recording guitar, my plug-in for making the guitar set. So if I had no plugins whatsoever, it would just sound like this. Not the worst sound, but it's very dry. Like, you know, so one of the effects, which I'll get to in a little while, that I basically wouldn't be anywhere without is reverb. So for those of you who might not know, reverb is like, if you think of delay as a signal that repeats after and after itself, so like, you know, by slowly getting quieter every time it repeats, a reverb is more like a cavernous echo. So like rather than just repeating after a certain period of time, it will repeat as soon as the signal goes through, but just slowly wash out, slowly echo out. So it gives the guitar, makes the guitar occupy a lot more space, and obviously whatever like instrument you apply it to, it's obviously going to fill out more of that space. So what I patch this through to is this program here called Guitar Rig 5. So as soon as I turn that on, basically I've already had a little bit of a mess around with this. You have a whole bunch of presets here. So you can choose which guitar amps you want, which effects you want. I mean, like, we can have a go on some of these. So I'm guessing that's like a little bit of a country tone. Foo Fighters. I'm actually just going to check with regards to the volume, because some of these are going to get a bit wild, I think. I'm going to put a limiter on, just to make sure that it's not going over too much. Can you guys just let me know if that is, like, if any of these tones are really grating or like doing damage to your sound systems? I obviously don't want to be doing that. So yeah, this is as I say, Guitar Rig. There's a whole multitude of different tones. What I tend to do is I make my own, sometimes based off of other presets, and just save them under Johnston. So the one that you guys are usually used to hearing is this. So straightforward, clean, basically, cheers for that, James. Drenched in reverb, which is this little section here. So what we're basically looking at is a stack of different effects, or different aspects to the guitar tone itself. What we have up here is a compressor, which I'm actually going to turn off at the moment. I actually need to save this a different preset, because with compression I actually apply that outside of this VST now. Whenever I say VST, by the way, I'm usually referring to like a synth or a tool that facilitates the sound that we're dealing with in the digital audio workstation. So VST in this case is Guitar Rig 5. Basically, I turn the compression off, and what I'm left with is the amplifier. This is this basically chooses what style of amp I have. So any of you guys who are familiar with guitars, electric guitars, amplification and whatnot, know that you have a head and a cab, or a head and an amp. And so the amp is the body, so this thing here that actually like blast the sound out, that actually, like, you know, obviously amplifies the signal. But then you have the head, which is, you know, almost like what it says on the tin, is all of your commands for being able to alter that sound, whether you've got bass, middle and treble, so your bass, mid, trebs, highs even, volume, and a few other effects, which again aren't going to be that special on here, but are greatly amplified elsewhere. After that, we basically just have a reverb on here. So for now, this sort of gives you an idea. This used to be my tone for about 5-6 years. About longer than that, actually. I think about 10 ever since I've had Guitar Rig. I've had this specific bit of software for a very long time. Yeah. Very luscious, very spacious. So yeah, that initially gives our sound some direction. So if I turn off this reverb, if I was to turn off all the effects, so it's quite fat, but it's not. It's a bit unwieldy. It's like it's a very muddy tone. Whereas if I turn this on, gives it a bit of drive, gives it a bit of bite. Allows the signal to fill up the space in which it occupies. If we look at some of these other effects, I'll come back to this one, but I've got distortion here, which I've not actually utilized. I don't think I've utilized this at all in any of these songs that I've done recently. But I have made some riffs in the past, some that I do want to get some use out of. If that sounds all right, I think that might be a bit loud again if I just bring this down. So actually, yeah, Johnny, this might be one of the first times you actually heard me play a riff. Like, considering download coming up in a bit, this might actually be a good way to get a spot there at some point. Who fucking knows? I could literally just play that for that. Like, I'm a diehard Tool fan, and so literally, I could just sit here for hours just playing open drop D breakdowns. Would definitely be up for that at some point. I think the other stuff just takes a bit of precedent for the time being. Yes, mate. Yes, Hente, mate. Like, James is not backing out of those vocals as easily as he thinks he is. Let's keep having our butchers. Yeah, at some point, man. Like, that's the way it's going to go down, Johnny, for sure. More than happy to share the load on that one, man. So let's see. Some of these, this is just for whenever I'm recording bass. Obviously not going to come through as well on guitar. You can sort of hear it a bit. I don't even know what these other ones are. Hang on a sec. So this one, this little element called psych delay, I do find really interesting. I find it a bit unwieldy though. I'm not quite sure how it properly works, but it's like a delay, but psych delay, like. Definitely some fun to be had with these. And this was a distortion that I was working on with my good friend James, aka Chud. So because it's drenched in reverb, it sort of lends itself to that sort of arena rock solo-y sound. Yeah, some good fun there. So that's actually quite a small amount of presets, to be fair, but again, it just shows you that mainly I'm just living in here, like. But I definitely think a metal/rock track is going to be on the card some point soon. I will keep all you guys posted. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save some time. I'm going to load up my rack for guitar. If I go to audio effects here and just bring this in, so I'm going to delete this for now. And so what we're doing here is loading up a few presets. Hopefully it don't crash on me. Don't. There we go. That's good. That's good. Right. Close these for now. And and we'll just have a quick sneak peek. So I load this up, and this basically saves me from having to spend about 10-15 minutes like pre-programming all of the different effects that basically bring my guitar sound to life. So much more crisp, much more clearer. That'll be through if I just turn all of these off. Another really handy Ableton feature here is the tuner. So in fact, let's just do our due diligence. Oh, actually, I've just noticed you guys can't actually see that. I'll bring this tuner over here. No, can't even do that. What I'm going to do, hold the fort, because it's actually hidden behind my mug. There we go, it's right here. So let's see how in tune we are here. Really handy this, because the one that's built into Guitar Rig is nowhere near as responsive, whereas this one always tells me the truth. Let's have a look. Okay, so we're in tune. So basically we've got our original guitar rig. As I said, I've turned off the compression, turned off the amp rack, and still have some reverb on. Sometimes I'll turn it off just because I've got a more dedicated reverb that's actually doing the work here. So the first thing I'm going to load in is some EQ. So for those that remember from a few months back, we looked at making some tracks. One of the things that we applied to the sound to make it a bit more defined, and basically like bring it in, like, you know, cut off any unwanted frequencies and boost a few of those that like could do with it, is this tool called EQ. So if I was to play something with it, or without it, sorry, turn that on. Now we might not get much of a change in sound, but can you see right at the bottom here, there is some information that would have been going to the master channel. It would have been going through the mix, and when it comes to mixing and mastering, would have given us a lot of issues going forward. So yep, the EQ is there just to boost some of the bottom signal, give us a bit more bass, take out a bit of the mid, where anything around this frequency can sometimes make it sound a bit muddy. I'm not going to mess around too much with it because I'm quite cognizant of the time we're taking up. And yeah, with the just raise some of the high ends, so just make it sound a little bit brighter. Like every guitar teacher's favourite lick. Like literally every time you just sit him down like in front of just, oh, so we just want to play it like this. And it's like, okay, yeah, like let's get to the point anyways. Compression. So we add some compression after to make sure that all of it sounds tight. You can end up sometimes playing some elements on the low strings, like basically the ones that sound deeper. You want them to have the same consistency as the high ones because they occupy two different parts of the wave spectrum. So like basically a bit of compression there just to make it sound a bit tighter. If we do a bit of before and after, so before and after. Very subtle. You should be able to hear that those higher notes are on a consistent level to the lower notes than they was in the previous section. If I just run a scale, use like from top to bottom, you can, if I do it before and after, there should be a difference with regards to what's played first and what's played after it. Put that in. Yeah, as I say, like, and it might depend on what you're listening on as well. But there is a bit more consistency with regards to dancing around the fretboard. So compression, basically get my EQ and my compression in. A bit of saturation, distortion. This comes from the Isotope Trash. Basically, what this does is this adds element of distortion to the sound. This actual tool gives you a lot of different tools for being able to do that. So you think of your classic distortion, like your Hendrix and everyone going electric, guitar players going electric, etc. Basically, what saturation does is a very, very light form of distortion, as you can see here. This is where I've applied it. But it basically boosts the signal to be able to give it a bit of extra oomph without muddying the mix a little bit too much. So you guys should be able to hear the difference in that volume already. So if I take that off. So like a much bigger boost in sound than like without having to turn the actual signal up. Again, like might need a whole session, like a whole live stream session to go over some of these things, but these are sort of like I'm just sort of like dancing over for the time being. And the last one is like basically my favorite tool out of all of this is Valhalla Reverb. Basically the best reverb, the industry standard reverb. Again, this one's actually quite light. I think because we've got some reverb coming from here, this little reflector already. If I was just to turn that off, then it's a little bit more of a concrete sound. Like you can actually hear quite a lot of the guitar coming through still. That's because the two main things that I look to adjust here is the mix and decay. So what the decay will do is it will dictate how long the tail of the reverb lasts. So what I mean by that is that if we set it to 3 seconds, you play a note and it will just go ding, and sort of like you can imagine the signal going down like this after about 3 seconds. Whereas if we put it up to 19 or like 10 seconds, the signal, the reverb will go on a much more consistent plane before sounding outwards. So if I put a bit of context to that, if we put that to 3, and I'll just go. And then I'll increase that to 10. Now can you hear that sustain? That note is still going on and on. That echo is still going on. If I was to bring that down to 2, only sticks around for a little bit. So that's sets the amount, the tail of the reverb, and the mix here is how much of the original signal do you want to keep versus how much of the reverb do you want to take over. So where we've got the mix down here, if I put the mix to 0, we have no reverb. We have none, absolutely none. But if we turn that up a little bit, now we've got some reverb behind our guitar signal. So the guitar signal on its own is just that. But if we say like we only want to put it up to about 30%, that means that that reverb is still there, but it's still being dominated by the original signal. If we put that up, if we actually put it up to 100%, now, I don't know if you guys can clock that, but basically there's actually no original signal coming through on the guitar. It's all reverb. Now, if I was to turn this up, it's probably about 10 seconds. This basically means that it's got no attack. It's got no bite to the guitar sound because the guitar sound is basically completely gone. All that's left is the reverb that's generated from that guitar sound. So when it comes to adjusting the reverb, I usually obviously want to keep like quite a lot of the guitar in there. I usually keep it between 25 to 35%. So we still got some of that original guitar signal coming through, which we obviously polished up with Guitar Rig, with the EQ, with the compression, with the saturation. But yeah, we basically, by adjusting the mix and the decay, we can dictate how long we want that reverb to ring out for, and how much of that reverb we want front and center, or how much of the guitar we want front and center. So let's just say, like, contextually, if I was playing a guitar note on around itself, or like a guitar line, so like the main melody. Without reverb, that would just sound like this. So can you hear all that empty space? All of that, like, basically unused real estate is where the reverb really comes into shine. It's like, don't worry, I've got this, and just basically fills out the sound with beautiful, lush echoes that make it still sound very musical, still like delivers quite nicely. So I think I've warbled on about reverb for quite a little bit. That is basically the gist of the like my guitar setup. Whenever I'm playing guitar on tracks, not so much when I'm playing them live. I think I have gone through my live setup. I did actually hear from, for those of you that have been paying attention, I did actually hear from Guitar Rig today that they have my pedal back in and are ready to send it over. So that was some good news. After a bit of faffing around, it sounds like they've actually got some back in stock. So hopefully that will work out a treat. Hopefully that will be coming through soon. So yeah, like, I'll use a different setup live, but I think that'll be a different episode in and around itself. Obviously I touched on it a little bit before then. Just catching up with some of the comments, actually. Yep, nice one, Johnny. Like, yeah, and glad to know that it's sounding good as well, man. I always really appreciate that, dude. Hente as well. Yep, no, fair play, man. Again, I am a bit conscious of it being information overload. I don't want to overburden everybody with regards to, like, waffle. But so long as it's coming through, and even if it's just introducing a different way of thinking about how music is made, like, rather than actually, like, teaching how to do it, hopefully it might give some insight, and you'll be able to hear it on some of your favorite tracks, and maybe some that you're yet to hear. Like, you know, you just be like, oh, actually, I know how they got that sound. They got to this, that, and the other. So yeah, hopefully these are informative. Basically, we've got about 15 minutes left. What I was planning on doing was, like, obviously talking this through. This has actually padded it out quite a bit more than I expected, which is good. Like I said, I don't want to waste too much of you guys' time. I really appreciate you all rocking up and wanting to discuss a little bit more about the setup, as well as general goings on. What we might do for a minute is, yeah, just jam something out. See if we might be able to find something that sticks. Usually I'll just end up sitting here noodling if I get like 15, 20 minutes free in a day. And sometimes I come out with ideas, sometimes I don't. Take a chance, Columbus did. You know, just it all depends on what sort of stuff you're coming through the day. So one of the techniques that I literally live by with regards to guitar, like, I know guitar players who are a lot more virtuistic. I think that's the name for it. But, you know, like, they've got a lot more variety to their playing. I only really know how to play one way. And it usually involves these chords, which are 10th chords. I think the science behind them is that, like, where you've got your thirds, your fifths, your perfect eighths. The 10th is like a note above an octave, which helps add some a specific kind of harmony, like, you know, quite an emotional harmony to tracks. So we're gonna have a little mooch around there, just see what sort of stuff is like, yeah, like, you know, sounds good. But probably only going to be for about like 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll see how it goes from there. But might work. So I'm going to do a very rough recording. I'm not going to do a click track or anything. We're just going to see if we might be able to jam around that. We don't want to click. Thank you very much. So yeah, hopefully that delivers a bit of the idea. Like it's just like this is how I'd usually like jam out a few tracks or whatnot. Like I said, I think today's probably feeling a little bit off of it or whatnot. We are coming up to an hour anyways, and as I said, the discussion through the guitar was actually a lot more informative and padded out than I was hoping for it to be. So yeah, I hope you guys had a good laugh with that. I think like again, like once I've got some of these podcasts a little bit more or streams, like, you know, a little bit more defined, a little bit more of a game plan with them, then yeah, I'll continue with that. Hente, that's actually a really good idea, man. So yeah, I think what I might do is plan some of the next episodes around certain elements. We did go over a little bit of drums in the episode where we made a track. So maybe that's a good idea to revisit some point soon. But maybe we'll do it over the course of a couple episodes. So we'll spend like one episode going over the actual how the beats are made, and then spend another episode, like just making these synths, like going over the synths and everything else behind it. I think that would be like quite informative and also at the same time quite beneficial to actually get some more material out there. So as I said, there's another big reason for wanting to get the or cut the podcast down a little bit, or the streams down a little bit, so that I've actually got a bit more time to be able to create more music, which is ultimately what this is all about. So I think I'm actually going to call it there. Like, as I say, it has been a bit of a short episode today. As I said, like I feel like some of these have been a little bit phoned in just because of the time restraints or whatnot. But hopefully with a extra day in the week to be able to get some bits together, these can be a lot more fleshed out. And a lot more fun and engaging, because I really appreciate the not only the fact that you guys are on board enjoying the music and supporting through the socials, coming out to the gigs, etc., but also just the fact that you guys are up for weekly streams like this. So I definitely don't want to lose sight of the fact that this is something that I'd like to do on the regular to support what is going on with the rest of the material. But yeah, it's just having to be a little bit more real and honest with the time that's available to myself and to you guys as well. So on that note, this hasn't actually happened before, but I do actually really need the toilet quite badly. So it's probably quite a big reason for wanting to wrap it up as quick as it is today. But yeah, really appreciate you guys rocking up again. Just checking on the socials. Yeah, no, it's the messages got out there again. So let's see. Yeah, Johnny, that is actually a really good idea as well. I think that did get brought up. I think like last month or like the other month or whatnot. But I reckon so. Let's do that. Like that can actually I think be a good basis for the next few streams that we do. So in a couple of weeks' time, we'll look over drums, we'll make the drum beat, and we'll actually really try and I'll go through everything that I use in order to make them sound fuller. We'll come up with a beat, and then in the episode after that, we can come up with the melody line. So rather than trying to fit it all into one stream and just sort of say like, right, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that, we can actually like make them really meaty and get into the brass tacks of it. Because like I said, ideally, all I want to do is I just want to come into these streams with a plan. Like I said, I don't want to disrespect you guys, like by just sort of coming in and being like, oh, we'll do whatever we want. Like it's. I'd like this to have purpose, and I'd like it to be rewarding for you guys. And I think like with the right amount of preparation, that's exactly what it could be. So yeah. On that note, guys. Really appreciate the show up once again. Really appreciate the track's been the chat has been really lively today, which is always a really great thing to see. Once again, I hope you've all enjoyed it. Have a lovely evening, and we shall catch up again. Not this time next week, but the week after. Thanks again, everyone, for all your support. Really appreciate it. Enjoy your week, guys. Take care. All the best. We'll be right back.